Hey, Jared.
Hey, Josh. Tell us a joke, Arthur.
Why did the clown go to jail?
Because he got what he deserved, like in the Joker movies. I don't know.
Because he couldn't juggle his responsibilities.
Oh, I like that one. Cool.
I love how it always starts. I'm like, hey, Jared. And you're like, hey, Josh.
Yes.
It's the same every time.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time Film. Special episode here, breaking into our coverage of
Todd Phillips.
Inserting Todd Phillips, breaking into the coverage of our other guy that we were covering.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, man, I had a brain fart there.
You were calling him FFC, which I like.
FFC. Yeah. We're inserting this because we have a new Todd Phillips film that we got to see this week. So It's Joker Folie A Deux.
Folie A Deux. No one says that in the movie.
Nope. So I don't know. It's just,
I looked at the definition. It makes sense for the film itself, which actually we could talk about when we get into it.
Yeah. But, so we're going to build a mountain, Jared. A podcast mountain.
That's good. Dang. Mine's not going to be as good. Hallelujah. Come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
Yeah. This is a little good twist on the, like an old song or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Josh, and this is my co-host, Jared.
Sorry. I did that.
No, I messed that up. So
it's all good.
So we're going to talk about Joker Folie A Deux, or Joker Part 2 from Todd Phillips. This is from 2024. Just came out. Rated R, 2 hours and 18 minutes. Struggling with his dual identity, failed comedian Arthur Fleck meets the love of his life, Harley Quinn, while incarcerated at Arkham State Hospital. All right, so we got Todd Phillips directing, Todd Phillips and Scott Silver writing. Our cinematographer, long-term cinematographer, Lawrence Scher. And the music is the same, Hildur Gunatar? I don't know.
That sounds right. I couldn't do it when we were talking about it.
When we talked about the first one. Production costs. Have you heard any of the hubbub about this?
Yeah, I saw something about it, so I'm not really guessing much. All I saw was like around 200 million.
Yeah, that's what it's listed as.
So it was 200 million? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I know because the first one was only like 50, right?
55.
Like that.
Yeah.
55, yeah. Wow.
So 4 times.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously there's no awards because the film just came out. All right, we have Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, Brendan Gleeson, Catherine Keener, Zoe Beetz.
Zazie Beetz?
Zazie Beetz? Yeah, Zazie
Yep.
Beetz. Steve Coogan, Harry Lottie, and Ken Leung.
Yeah.
There's the people I didn't recognize. I mean, there's other people in the film, but
No, you pointed out 2.
yeah, there's 2 guys. The last Harry Lutendy, and then Ken Leung.
Yeah.
Those are both main guys in the film or the show industry.
Yeah.
And so they were both in this. Yeah.
Harry
plays Harvey Dent.
Yes. Did you finish the new season yet?
Yep.
Did you?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll talk about that.
Talk about that in our TV pod.
Which it would have already
You've already
out.
heard if you listen to these. All right. So what's your overall thoughts on this film?
All right. thinking about this a lot. I mean, well, we just watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
But tried to not see anything about this online. Some of it was unavoidable. But I still liked this film. First Joker, I think, is way better.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did see online, and even seeing both the critic and audience score for this, because I did see that because I was looking up Based or Waste. I don't understand that. There's like on pretty much every side, it seems like there's a lot of hate for this movie overall. Yeah, and I don't really get that. Because the first one was controversial, but there was people that loved it and hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is like unanimously almost. Like everyone just hated this movie, which, yeah, I still liked it somewhat. I will say felt long though.
Mm-hmm.
Did feel a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what about you?
I didn't enjoy this movie.
You didn't?
No.
It was a musical. Well,
that's
somewhat.
Yeah, and
didn't
I
bother you?
don't think
'Cause I know
that's
you're
the
not a
reason.
big-
I don't think that's the reason. I don't think that helped.
Sure.
But I don't think that's the reason. I think for me, this film is, well, going back, this film is about 15 minutes longer than the first film.
Yeah.
And then I think from a story perspective, it really feels like it's like only the first and second act. And it's literally doesn't have the third act happen.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which like, and then because of that, then the pacing feels way off because like you're at 2 hours and 20 minutes almost, and you're only through two acts, so to speak. So like,
I do agree the pacing was weird.
Yeah,
in this.
So it feels a little like not it never goes anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like doesn't have a real resolution. I mean, we'll get into spoilers and talk about.
Yeah, no spoilers yet. We'll say, but no, yeah, with no spoilers, you're right. It kind of like starts and ends like it's just kind of like a full circle almost, and there's not a whole lot that throughout the movie. Yeah, but
I will say, like, I did really appreciate the overall craft that everyone's presenting here, because I still think it's a very good looking film.
Yes,
it's well made from a production standpoint. I think the actors are doing great in what they are given to do. Cinematography is great. Like, yeah, so like I still could appreciate it being, even if I didn't enjoy the story that was there or felt like it was lacking and moving a little slow, still could appreciate and honestly, speaking of the music parts, I do like how they were incorporated.
Yes,
I thought that was really interesting and creative, and I think it was done well to like make it not feel like straight like a normal what you would think of as a musical, and more just these like moments, because they were there but they weren't like it's not as much music as like La La Land or something. Like there's still way more non-music parts than there are music parts.
Yep.
So, which I guess I don't know, how do you consider a musical? It has to be over 50% of the time. I don't know. I
mean, yeah, normally, but it doesn't have to, but yeah.
Where's the criteria? If you have like one singing and dancing number, it's a musical? No. I mean, like, so there's a balance.
Yeah, there's got to be some.
Yeah. I don't know what that threshold is, but
me neither.
But yeah. Well, let's get into it then. Let's get into it.
All right. So I guess I'm a little higher on it than you, I think, overall. Yeah. Okay. All right. To be clear though, I still it was disappointing just coming from the first one, just because of how much I really like the first one and how well done it is. And to your point, all the different aspects of it creatively are really great still and fit really well with the first movie. Yeah, So I think you're right. A lot of the problems do have to do with the pacing and the plot and story. Yeah.
So we get into this. So speaking of that,
Are we doing spoilers now?
Yeah. Let's get into spoiling the story. Yeah. So along those lines, not only those things, but also I feel like the supporting characters were not fleshed out as much as in the first one, and also weren't as likable as the first one. I think the first film balances out with, you have the neighbor, you have his mom. I mean, let's say his mom's like kind of, you can definitely tell she's a little crazy, but
yes,
but like you have these other characters that are kind of like in his life a little bit more instantly. Like some of the guys he works with, like the one guy's not nice, his boss wasn't nice, but like some of the other guys, which we see him at the end in the courtroom, like the one guy,
Puddles.
Yeah, Puddles. But but I feel like you had a little more of those interactions, and even some of the comedy guys, like you just had these like people that were a little bit more like, whereas in this, and understandably, the jail cell people are not good. You don't like them. It's like maybe the attorney lady, but even they barely give her any screen time.
Yeah, she's hardly
like, and yet so like I feel like was also off balance a little bit. Now they're trying to give all this time to then Lady Gaga's character, Harley Quinn, to like develop this love story between them. But I think that's what balanced it out before, was you saw these people that were trying and caring about him, and some people weren't treating him well in the first film, and there was like some balance there of a little bit, and then this is kind of like pretty much everyone's like out to get him now, and so
it has to do with the story and what he did,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
I get that. I feel like it really that's what kind of balanced some of the darkness, or so to speak, maybe in the first one a little bit more.
Yes.
I mean, even I think the guy, I don't know what she was, a social worker that he met with a couple times in the first film, like she almost had more screen time than the lawyer in this one, and so yeah, I just feel like it was that was another area I think that for it being longer, and it's like maybe if we allowed some other characters to be in there, like the lawyer is a perfect. I mean, I keep coming back to that. She was obviously somebody that was on his side trying to save him from going to the chair or whatever and so we, maybe we had a little bit more there just to see that interaction a little bit more. Maybe I think there was potential there for the jailer, like initially, he seemed kind of, but then also they're very laxed and stuff, like with their interactions with him, and allowing this guy to do way more than you think, and allow her to go in there and do things in the which is like kind of surprising, but
yeah, I mean, but yeah, to your point, they're not really doing their job.
No.
And taking a lot of liberties. I do really like that actor, Brendan Gleeson. He's great in a lot of things. There was a show he was on, and I think our dad watched it too, because I remember talking to him about it. It was based on a Stephen King trilogy of books, I want to say, that he was the main actor in. It's called Mr. Mercedes. And I really liked the show. It went downhill, but the first season was good. But in that, he has a beard, and Dad and I would always say he looks exactly like Uncle Mel. And he really did. It's funny. Like, he just, not as much, in this, but yeah.
With the beard. Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I really like that. And yeah, you're right. It's not that any of the actors did a bad job.
No.
Everyone was great in it. So yeah. I'm wondering if they do a director's cut, because I imagine there's a lot that he cut from this, even though it's longer. And I wonder if you could change the pacing, maybe figure out a third act, or I don't know if you had something for that, or like to what you were saying, I think there's a lot he could do with it. I imagine he has enough footage. You know, he's never done a director's cut before, so I don't know if that'll ever happen. But it is funny. You mentioned this. I think even in The Hangover 3, you were like, well, he doesn't have a good track record with sequels.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I mean, going into this, I was trying to like I said, try not to see anything online. So I was just going into it completely blind. But I still in the back of my head was like, I don't have faith this is going to be even up to par as the first one, because none of his other sequels are as good.
True.
So
true.
I feel like it was another, like you mentioned with the first Hangover, Joker was kind of a lightning in a bottle moment. Mm-hmm. It seemed so.
So let's speak briefly about the little opening cartoon. That was cool.
I thought it was cool too. I like the Warner Brothers intro, all that.
Classic Warner Brothers little cartoon that we don't get anymore, I guess. Like I haven't seen any.
No.
And then the style was cool. I really liked it. And it was a great like start. Like I was like, oh, this is.
It was a good kind of like, it's kind of like a mini recap too. Kind of like recreating a little bit of what.
Yeah.
And maybe filling in the gaps also, because I was trying to think, I think they mentioned it at one point in the movie, but I was trying to figure out how much time actually passed. Since, he got...
It's supposed to be like 2 years, I think.
Was it 2 years?
Yeah, they mentioned a couple times, I think.
So this is kind of like in between. Like this little cartoon is kind of like Joker 1.5. Like it's like showing right after what he did on the Murray Franklin show, and then into prison, and then 2 years later.
Yeah, well, that was cool. Either way. Unless you got notes on?
Yeah. Just wanted to mention the two main actors. We kind of already talked about a little bit, but just like the first film, Joaquin Phoenix is fantastic as Arthur Fleck.
Yep.
I also think Lady Gaga was great. She, I think she's a good actor anyway. In American Horror Story, she was in one of those seasons. She was good in that.
Was she?
Yeah, but I would say especially the movie House of Gucci. She's one of the main characters in that. That's kind of one of the more recent Ridley Scott movies. Really great in that. So that's the most recent thing I've seen her in until now. But I liked her performance, and I think it was a really cool and interesting take on Harley Quinn that we haven't really seen before. Or Lee, I should say, is what she's called. But
yeah, I agree. Like it was definitely a similar, like the Joker take that they had in previous. Like it's kind of like very like if this person existed in real life, like how would it kind of happen? How would it? And so being that she's almost like a fangirl of Joker, even though he's been in prison, like she's a fan of his story, a fan of, because she like only likes him when he's Joker. Like
they keep talking about like how many times she watched the
film,
the cartoon.
And so so I think it's definitely a good or interesting, and I'm not super familiar with the actual comics of these and know how, if it's any way, shape, or form, and based on one, but
I think there is certain versions where she's more of a fan and not just like a like psychologist that falls in love with him. I think that's kind of normally the classic thing that happens, but so there's still some elements of this that are linked to older versions of this character or in comics, but it's still its own take, just like you said with Arthur Fleck, Joker also. Yeah.
So it was good. I liked it. Was like a slow progression, and the final reveal there at the end, where she really kind of has the whole kind of get up.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, and it I didn't really see that part coming, to where like she basically just set it all up, and I kind of had a feeling like something there was going to be some kind of shift with her at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't expect it to be completely like she basically planned all of that. Like going into, because I think she said specifically, like she wasn't actually, like she got to just go in there. Like she wasn't actually in Arkham.
Yeah, she committed herself, yeah.
Yeah, she committed herself, yeah. That's right. I was trying to remember if she said at the end exactly, like her whole plan, but.
Yeah, so she, but yeah, wasn't really in there and then, yeah. And so she was just in love with him, which is, like happens in real life where people fall in love with these like crazy murderers that are in, whatever. Yeah, it's, yeah. So that was a good approach to that. Like I said, I think the ideas are all good. Like, I mean, again, casting Lady Gaga and then having this music kind of mixed in there is like part of their dream world, I guess, so to speak, right? Yeah. And like that stuff was all interesting. It's just like you just needed to, because I think like I said, like I feel like, so I don't want to jump ahead. I don't know what else you would like, if you have specific things you want to talk about.
No, if you're going to talk about the musical part or moments at all, that's kind of where I was going to go with my next.
I was actually going to go to like how I like the end doesn't feel like an end. It feels like so, but like
we can do
that. But like, okay, so if I was gonna rewrite this or whatever, like I like the ideas that are there, but if you can condense it down to an hour and a half into the 45 minutes for the first act, 45 minutes for the second act, and then this is the second act, like where this ends the second act. So the first act is like introducing him in the prison and then him meeting her and blah blah blah. Then the second act would be the courtroom stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then he gets free. Now the way they do it in the film, he dies at the end.
Yeah,
they have him murdered in the prison because he goes back to prison. And you could still end up there some way, sure. But like we could do a third act where he, starts to build his empire and because like those guys save him, like, and that's where I thought it was going to go. I mean, it seemed like the movie had already been long, but I thought like, okay, here's the setup, maybe a third film where that happens. Whether they'll make it or not is different. But then
no, I don't.
But then he gets caught like that by the officers and put back in jail, and then it's debatable. And like, did this guy leave him in the hall on a not watched and set that guy up to be able to kill him, or whatever? Like,
yeah, I feel like that has to be somewhat the case. I mean, you do not much, but I want to say there was a few scenes where you see that guy that ends up killing him.
Oh, right? No, they linger on him a little bit. They definitely linger on him several times because I was like, why? Yeah. What is interesting about this guy? I kept thinking, is he going to be...
He didn't talk at all, but there's a few...
Is he going to be... Well, I kept thinking, is he going to be... Earlier on when they showed him a couple times, I kept thinking, well, is he going to be like, one of the other characters, not Harvey Dent, but like another, like
someone
side character,
comics,
the kind of way to like, bring him in slightly, but like not. But then it didn't end up being that. But then they had him, kill him at the end. Anyway, that just to me is like, if you did that and the movie was the same length or 2.5 hours, whatever, maybe made it a little longer, but like you could have that like more like a third act. Feel like there's something happened. And you still could end up him getting caught and died at the end if that's where you want to end things. But I feel like so there's like a change in him. I don't know. It just
How'd you feel about that ending part and the guy?
Well, so
killing him and what he does, kind of in the background. You notice what he was doing.
He was like messing himself up.
Yeah. Essentially, he's going to be Joker because he does like the Heath Ledger version, essentially with his mouth, like he's cutting the sides of his mouth. We don't really see too much, but you can tell that's what's happening in the background. And he's doing the laugh too. So,
yeah. So maybe that's what the setup is, like the real Joker that we all know is not. Is
which I like the idea if that's the case. Like, that's a part of the ending that I do like, and it's fine that Arthur Fleck ends up dying at the end too. Like, I don't have a problem with that, and I kind of like how the way he dies too. That's what I was kind of talking about, where it's kind of just like a full circle because by that point he's not really Joker in any way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ends up just dying as just normal Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to where none of the Joker part exists anymore in him. And
right,
someone else is basically taking up the mantle.
Because he chose to not be him anymore.
Yep.
And because like, I can't do it anymore, which then led her down. And then she was like, I don't need you. I don't want you anymore. And he thought that's all he could live for was the fact that somebody wanted him.
And so. I think almost at this point, I mean, they could never do this because I don't think as many people would have even watched it, but like not even call these two movies Joker, you know? Have it be something else because it ends up ultimately being not really. Now, there was a little more, I guess, in the first movie though, because we actually get more with like the Waynes and all that, which is interesting. It's like none of that at all in this.
No.
Just surprising. I didn't really think about that till now. Like, oh yeah, there's nothing really even calling back to. There's a lot of that kind of just left from the first movie. Yeah.
I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say something.
Oh, what? The Waynes or different plots that they left?
Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah, I had a thought.
Well, I wanted to. It's cool. I'm sure it'll come back in a second. I wanted to mention about the actual musical scenes, because, and again, I mean, this might change, you know, if I watch it again, which I will watch it again eventually. But this is not nearly as rewatchable, I think, as the first movie. But I'm kind of conflicted on the musical scenes, like those actual sections, because the actual songs itself, not the choreography and what they do in the scenes, but the actual songs themselves. I liked a few, but I didn't like a lot of them that much, or as much as I thought I would, especially who we have doing the score, which I imagine, I don't know, but I imagine she did those parts as well, the music to it, which is awesome because that's like very different style-wise to do. But like having Lady Gaga also in this singing, like we know how incredible of a singer she is, but she almost doesn't really, like, they don't even really use her in not as well as I thought they would with like her vocal range and just that. I mean, she still sounded great, but there's moments like some of the songs I didn't like as much as I did. But
do you think it was intentional to be like, to like almost like tell her, hey, don't be good. Don't be so good.
Could be, because I mean that also is because I mean Joaquin Phoenix, I mean he's doing his best, but yeah, like he's not the greatest singer. So maybe that's also it. Yeah, he probably would sound worse if she was like really. So that could be true. Like she kind of had to purposely tone it down. But I like the kind of the idea that I think I predicted beforehand when we were like at the end of the Joker pod, how like, to me at least, all these musical scenes were just in his head, and they didn't really confirm that, but it seemed like from the visuals and the cinematography, like the visual storytelling, it seemed to be that was the case, right? And it kind of makes more sense than, because some of the times it's almost like doesn't even feel like we're going into a musical section. Like some of it feels really like, I think, purposely abrupt, going in and out of them. Not always, but some of them. Like no transition really. And now there is with the music, like you were talking about, but like visually, kind of like just almost cuts to it. And I think that makes a lot of sense because it's not reality. So I kind of like the way they did it in that way. So yeah, I don't know. I got to think about it more and watch it again. So I'm kind of mixed on the musical sections. It's a bummer because I don't know if you've watched both of the trailers. They're both really great. But the one trailer in particular, I think, is like one of the best trailers I've seen in a while. And the version of the song they use in that too is just incredible. Like I was so amazed by it, and it's not even, the idea of it's not anything special because just like they call it an epic version of like an old song. You know, like that's the version that's in a trailer, and you hear that all the time in a ton of trailers of like an old song. But just the way they do it is just really great. So I was hoping we get to kind of some of those heights in this movie and with the music, and I don't think we did that much.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think this might have been my thought, and then we did.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, this budget is not there.
No.
Like, I don't know where they're spending $200 million on this thing. Like, I mean, maybe maybe Todd Phillips is getting paid $100 million to make it or something. I don't know. You know, like
he probably, he's because he made like over $1 billion with the first movie. Yeah, I'm sure he's getting paid really well. But even Joaquin Phoenix, I imagine, is
I mean, I'm sure they owe, and then Lady Gaga, I'm sure is not cheap to get her to. But I mean, I know I was joking. I don't think he's getting paid $100 million.
No, I know.
But I mean, even if you added like inflated salaries, then it should be $100 million, maybe not $200 million.
Yeah, it's not like because it's a huge grand scale of a movie, like
right.
And you were not even in that many locations.
Well, I was gonna say it's not. It doesn't feel that much different than the first film as far as like location wise. You know, basically you just spend the time in the jail or the courtroom for the most part.
Yeah, essentially it's like most of it could just be 2 sets. Now there's sometimes you see outside of Arkham or like a few little scenes elsewhere, but yeah, for the most part, you're right. It's just those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is just that. And so, I mean, again, they were on the staircase a couple of times.
Yep.
She was there and then he's there later with her. But, but again, that's not, I mean, and then of course some driving to and from Arkham or the city, which I guess is kind of New York City, but not New York City. Right.
Yeah. We talked about that in the first Joker movie. And that, now that you're bringing that up, it's also, there's hardly any of the city we see. We see one scene of her, she breaks and grabs that TV. Like, that's really it. I don't think.
Yep. After the explosion, which
sure, yeah.
But yeah, and then there's a little bit of like, car chase, like a little bit of stuff, but not, I mean, it's not heavy, not that much.
No.
So anyway, it just.
Yeah, I guess that's the most we see of the street. Yeah, when he's running. Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, it's just not, I don't understand.
I don't either. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like $200 million.
No, not at all.
And it sucks because, well, from what I saw, it seems like this basically bombed in the theaters. And speaking of that, because you point out to me, the people in front of us, they just walked out.
Yeah.
Like halfway through?
Probably. Yeah,
there was hardly any people in this.
Yeah, we saw it in the afternoon on a Tuesday, so like
sure, but
like I mean, it's not the prime time for people to go, especially this kind of film. Like, it's not, it's not like it's a kids' film where like moms with little kids are going to go take them to.
No, but it's been a while since I've been to a movie that like someone's just straight up left in the middle of.
But yeah, the couple in front of us. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Again, I mean, it seems like most people really don't like this movie.
You, any other general thoughts there?
I have a few more things.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, how'd you feel about Harvey Dent in this? We don't really get too much.
Again, another character that could have been fleshed out a little bit more.
I agree.
To give us some more, almost like an antagonist for him. Yeah. I think the guy's doing great with a little bit that we get with him. I think. Yeah. But it's another.
I mean, he's great on
industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. It's like almost like they should have not done this ending part or gone into it more with like him after the explosion. Mm-hmm. It's like,
or not see him. Like if they wouldn't have shown him,
right,
and just let him be there in the explosion, then it's like you assume
it's gonna be Two-Face. Yeah, but like, they show him and he's like.
But it's like not bad.
Not really though. No, it's weird.
Not bad enough that you'd be like, oh, I need to cover this up.
It's not like Dark Knight where he's literally like half his face is in the gasoline, and you know all that happens with the fire. Yeah. But
and I mean, in this world where they're very, very, very realistic.
Yeah,
like that's extreme, like what the Dark Knight. But I think they still could have had him like look like it was more burned.
I know it was a weird choice.
But anyway,
it's funny. It always makes me think of. I haven't seen Dark Knight in a while, but the only part of that movie that I'm like, just makes me laugh every time is when Harvey Dent's in the hospital, right? And his bandages just come off. And Joker walks in there dressed as a nurse. He doesn't react until Joker takes off the little mask. And I'm like, how do you not know this? It's so funny. Then he freaks out. He's like, oh, it's him. Like, that part just makes me laugh. I'm like, that's like, he's still in his clown makeup and everything. And it was just funny. But
yeah, I'll have to catch that next time.
Yeah,
I never noticed it that way, at least.
Yeah. But I mean, still a masterpiece, I would say, of a movie.
For sure.
Yeah. Especially the opening sequence is just of that movie is incredible. I have a few more. So you say you don't have any more overall?
Not like just general notes.
I did like this little thing that I thought was funny was Arthur in the courtroom. Liked how much he kept like changing his accent and his voice. That was hilarious. And you do it to whoever he's questioning and to the crowd too. It was funny.
Yeah.
I also thought one of the best scenes was, which you mentioned earlier, was when Puddles does take the stand. Thought that was done really well. Really can see, because obviously the scene in the first movie that's involving him where Arthur lets him live and leaves, like it's really good interaction with like how much he still has to deal with that trauma for 2 years plus. So yeah, I thought that was impactful. The courtroom explosion, the sound design on that was awesome. I mean, it helped we were in Dolby Atmos, but that was that was really great. I liked that, the explosion. So yeah, the only last thing then is I really liked Harley's final outfit. It's kind of the closest we get to classic Harley Quinn outfit, but still different. Like they're kind of doing with the whole character, different take on her. But it still was like the red and all. So I think that was the best outfit in that she was wearing in this. But yeah, so I thought that was cool. But
I agree. It was good.
Yeah, you're right. The more I think about the ending, even though I do like the very final how it ends, but the ending is kind of weird and doesn't feel like a third act. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So, talking a little about cinematography. So again, lots of Argentine colors, so similar to, but I will say, I mean, there's some great stuff in here and cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's not as many times of like the iconic looking shots as we had in the first one. Not that there weren't some, because they were.
Yeah, there was a few standouts, but you're right.
It's not as many as I remember from the first one, but
yep.
But one thing I wanted to note, and again, being that we saw in the theater, it's hard to know how it's like you aren't tracking and you can't go back and look. But from the explosion, there was definitely a section there where it was just like a long one take.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Like, yeah, and it's like, and when you're watching something for the first time, it's like you almost like you have to like pick up on them, and you're like, wait, I don't think I've seen a cut for like the last 30 seconds or whatever, and then you're like trying to watch, and so like I don't know when it started,
Right.
And then, of course...
So basically from the rubble, and he gets up
I think
starts
so.
running away. That probably was all one take. Yeah.
And then it gets into the car and then gets out.
Yeah.
And like, I think it just never cuts.
Cool.
Again, you have to... It's one of those things you got to wait and see it when it comes on the video.
Or if it's a 1917 situation where there's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, they might have done it.
They might have done it
to
anyway,
make them look seamless. But yeah, because that's pretty... I mean, people can do that now pretty well. But it was made to look like it. And which is cool and challenging, obviously. But yeah.
I don't know. It's a little... You guys would have already seen this too, our TV pod. But there's something like that in the finale of Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2.
Yes.
Cool. So you saw that too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. But
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of...
So
I think well, just like there was a couple times where some of the stuff was cool that they did with the when they were in the musical stuff and did with lighting and and there was like, I can't remember if it was him or Lady Gaga were like silhouetted and then the camera kind of came around and light, like then just you start to see the light on their face and there was some cool stuff there that because they were able to play around with it because it was not reality, so they could make things a little bit different. But yeah,
I agree. I think there's two, at least again, we just saw this, so we've only seen it once, so I'm sure there's some stuff I missed, but the first one's like very near the beginning that I really liked was when he's walking out of the prison, or kind of, there's still like
the cage, I know we're talking about the overhead shot with the umbrellas.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. Really, because everything else is so black
muted,
and then really bright
colors of the
umbrellas. I love that. Yeah,
but he wasn't under the umbrella. It was when he was first going to see the lawyer the first time.
Yes.
We heard, because then he's like soaking wet and she's like, you guys couldn't.
Yeah, but that's definitely a standout. I really like that. And then the other one, which is funny because actually both of these you see in the trailer that I mentioned, like the trailer, I think that's really good. The other one is, let's see, Harley talking to Joker through the glass. She draws a smile.
Yep.
Thought that was great. I mean, that had to have been hard to do, to line up perfectly with him, right?
I mean, they're just doing a couple takes.
I'm wondering, like, how many times do they do that to frame that exactly right? Because it's not just him matching it, and then the smile to get it exactly right.
Well, I'm wondering, when I watched it, I was thinking they might have finished his smile. Like, you'd have to go back and watch it, but they might have like added a little bit more as he was smiled in post to kind of give it a little bit. I don't know. I was because like
I guess you could do that and it wouldn't be noticeable.
Once he covered some of it, then it could go. You could just kind of like bring it up a little bit more, and you wouldn't maybe notice. But I don't know. Just one of those things that.
Yeah, because if it's just his motion of his mouth, then like adding to that, you really wouldn't even recognize that it could potentially be more of the red. Yeah. Just the only other thing,
of course, maybe the whole thing was added in post.
That'd be crazy.
Like the lipstick was not even really there.
Yeah. The only thing is, I mean, because he's literally smoking throughout this whole movie. Yes. Always just looks great in scenes, getting that effect with whatever lighting is going on.
Oh yeah,
just the smoke,
natural smoke and haze always makes stuff look cooler.
Always looks great. Yeah.
And then you've got the lit cigarette. The light. So yeah, for sure. So any more about the shots, or you want to go?
Nope.
Talk about music specifically. Anything there?
Yeah. Do you have anything in particular? Kind of, since I'll probably go longer on this, do you have anything with the score in particular?
Other than like, there was definitely you reused some of the themes from the first one. Like you felt it in those moments, and you were like, "Oh, okay, I'm
That main theme, the
Joker
two-note
thing,
thing, essentially. That it's
like
really great.
That that was good, and it was recognizable, which is always
that's
good. I say a good thing, but like I'm sure not easy thing to do.
No,
to write something that like can stand out like that and give you the right feeling and be memorable, and so that even watching another film or something, and then they can incorporate it, and it emotes those feelings.
And it being so simple too, being only 2 notes, but she arranges it in such a way that, really impactful. Yeah, I love that main theme. They kind of keep, for the most part, same kind of with the score as the first movie. Like I said, it's mostly cello, like this electric cello, it almost sounds like, with a lot of it, and a lot of just like low drone sounds. There was the only thing that stood out, just because I already mentioned, like, if she did all the musical parts too, like, that's hard to do because that's a whole different. So I don't know if anyone else was involved with writing the music in those sections, but some of the transitions, I think you were already talking about this, I thought were really great, going from the actual Joker theme or score and going into the musical part was done so well. But there was even times where it overlapped intentionally, and both were going on. But it they blended it worked, really well. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
I don't think she's going to win again for her score, but she already did in the first one, so it's fine. I'm sure there's a lot of competition for best original score for this year, but she won in 2019 for it.
Well, yeah, she wasn't competing with Dune.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that better win.
That was this year.
That better win.
Dune Part 2.
Yeah. Nothing comes close to that for this year, honestly.
Yeah, so do a little trivia. Let's do a little trivia.
You have anything for themes and messaging?
Oh, did we do that before?
Yeah.
All right.
You always ask this.
I always forget which order.
Yeah, no. Trivia is always a very, very last thing.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Themes and messages.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I mean,
it's similar to the first movie.
Yeah.
We mentioned with that, but
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if it's anything different. I think, I mean, I guess one theme in there is like, feeling loved gives you something to live for. Like he definitely, like that definitely was in there when he thought he had no one. He was, because they talked about it, like he was ready to commit suicide. And they ended up killing other people instead, but then meeting her gave him some purpose, something to live for. Of course, then she ditches him, so he's kind of like okay with dying at the end, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, I guess at that point.
Obviously, then a theme in this is definitely how people that are considered less than in society, how they're treated. I think. Yes. He was not treated well, and even when he's in prison, even though, yes, he did horrible things, but he's still a person. So,
yeah, there was even not only with the prison guards, like just like hitting him and stuff, but I'm pretty sure there's some insinuation of them doing other stuff to him too, right?
I mean, it's kind of seen that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think kind of in tandem to the first film, it's really not Joker, just about a guy that has severe mental illness and starts to have a split personality, which the one lady mentions in this, to this like Joker archetype. But then ultimately at the very end, that other personality kind of goes away, and it's just him. Just Arthur. That's why I kind of like the ending of him. It's just being him.
Yeah.
Same way as how he started in the first movie, and just ultimately dying that way. And then, but I guess the Joker lives on, and this other guy potentially.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, my point, like, the way he dies, very unceremoniously. Like it's. It's not.
He's like no one.
Yeah.
Like he's no one.
Yeah.
All right, so this is interesting.
So we have trivia. Is there a decent amount of already?
First thing, this is the very first sequel Joaquin Phoenix has ever done.
Okay. Wow, he's done a lot in his career too. That's interesting. I think he did already say he's like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. So even if they wanted to do like a prequel, or I don't know, he's just like, yeah.
So that first trailer received 167 million views online. The second most of any Warner Brothers film.
Well, it's a really great trailer. I've been talking about it.
So like Joaquin Phoenix and both Joker films, Lady Gaga went full method acting for her performance. She insisted that cast and crew only call her Lee throughout filming. Cinematographer for each film, Lawrence Sher, was quoted saying, "I never even met the real Lady Gaga on set. I don't know her at all."
I wonder if she normally does that. I don't really know if she's normally a method actor or not. Speaking of method, like actors to the extreme, did you see Daniel Day-Lewis is coming out of retirement?
Yeah, I did.
I don't really know what the movie is that he's doing, but I think he hasn't done a movie in almost 10 years, I want to say. So that's crazy.
It says Todd Phillips said Lady Gaga 100% gave Joaquin Phoenix pointers on set, and that Joaquin was sick every day with nerves over the musical portions of the production. Director said Phoenix had to sing with Gaga as early as 9 days into the lengthy shoot, but the place the duo got to was magic to witness.
Yeah, that had to have been stressful for him.
Intimidating.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Says this movie pays tribute to the classic musical movies from the 1960s, including Rat Pack eras of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, and Angie Dickinson.
Yeah. Although I got more of a 70s vibe, like the one where it's basically Sonny and Cher. Like that's kind of what they were going for in that one. That's what I thought of.
When they said the song used in the trailer, "What the World Needs Now Is Love," is from 1997 album.
Yeah. Yep. You got to watch that trailer since I've talked about it so much now. It's great.
Phillips announced early October, before the film was released, that he intended to move away from the Joker character in the DC studios and rolling out a third film or a spinoff revolving around Lady Gaga's character. So even before, he kind of was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this again."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if it did $1 billion, that they maybe would convince him.
Probably.
That's probably how he ended up doing Hangover 3.
Almost certainly.
Lady Gaga released a companion album called Harlequin on September 27th.
I did see that. I listened to some of it. It is cool. It's like very, like you said, Rat Pack style musically. Some of it, not all of it. But yeah, pretty good what I listened to of it.
In the trailer, there's a scene of Fleck and Lee going down the courthouse stairs dancing, and Lee wearing a blue pregnant dress.
Yeah.
But that didn't make it in the film.
Yeah, that's a big shot I remember from the trailer. You're right. That's not in the movie. Weird. So there's got to be a decent amount that if you want to do a director's cut, he could. Just give it to Ridley Scott. He'll make it great. He's the king of director's cuts.
All right, so we'll end on this one.
Okay.
The film received a D cinema score, a lower grade than any other comic book film, surpassing The Spirit and Fantastic Four, which both received C minuses.
Ooh.
So.
Wow. Yeah, I saw people comparing it to like Morbius opening.
Actually, one more. This is interesting.
Okay.
The rooftop set for one of the musical numbers was also used in The Greatest Showman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. So, final thoughts.
I don't think we know anything about like what Todd Phillips wants to do next, since obviously he's not doing this anymore. But
right.
I would like him.
Be interesting to see him go back and do a comedy again.
That would be interesting
because he did these 2 films and then War Dogs before it,
right?
So he really hasn't done like a straight up comedy in a while.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, 2 different things then. So I would like him to do that because I didn't even think about that, going back to his roots a little bit, but also doing something not comic book related at all, but in the style of how he did the first Joker, like very 70s, like I mentioned, King of Comedy, Taxi Driver, like Martin Scorsese type film. Because he did that very well. I think he could do something similar to that. In that style would be cool again too. But yeah, comedy also, either one.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see him circle back to that after 10 years or whatever it's been. I didn't look at the exact date, but if it's been 5 years between these 2 films,
it's about 10 years, I think.
Yeah, so it's
Hangover 3 was 2014. Around then.
Somewhere, yeah. So yeah, that'd be interesting. And then I don't think I'll ever watch this film again. I'll just put it that way.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I will eventually, just to see if my feelings change at all on it. But no, definitely not rewatchable like the first one. So, like the first one, I think you would watch again, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, depending on, we will pick up back with our Francis Ford Coppola coverage.
Yes.
After this, next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
We have the. Do you want to say the name, or we don't know what order this is coming in?
Yeah, that's true. So
okay.
I was
we'll
say the name.
That's fine.
But we're getting really close to The Godfather, the big one. We're not there yet, but really close.
Oh yeah.
So
have some guests on that.
Yeah, we should have some guests on that one. So, but yeah, so let us know what you guys think. I don't know if anybody saw it, because I know, like we said, it kind of bombed, so I don't know how many people actually saw this film. But if you saw it, let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our thoughts. You can do so by leaving us a comment on the YouTube video or on the reel or shorts. Or you can email us at feedback@screentimepod.com. And if you'd like, you can follow either one of us on Instagram. I'm at Jay Youngbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right, we'll catch you guys next time.